Hello everybody, once again. Right, I've got several dreams and bits of dreams for you this evening, or I guess this morning in your case. Right, first dream. I appeared to be in some kind of large clothing store or department in a store. Everywhere were racks and stands covered in jackets and coats and presumably other garments out of my view. I was accompanied by no less than Kay Burley, prominent lady Sky News announcer who presents a news programme early in the morning and therefore more usually accompanies me only on the TV screen over breakfast. As we slowly worked our way around the store, I suddenly experienced the need to relieve myself, and excusing myself, I headed towards the toilets. Once through the double doors, I was confronted by a long staircase and proceeded to descend it. Part way down, I was aware of somebody behind me, and on turning to look, was confronted by an obese, tall, middle-aged man in a faded yellowish suit that looked almost like pyjamas. I carried on walking, but was aware he was getting closer to me, too close. When he touched my back, I'd had enough, and deciding that a gents' loo was not the place I wanted to be with some overgrown pervert, I did a hasty U-turn, and swiftly reascended the stairs and emerged back into the store. To my surprise and delight, Kay was still standing there waiting for me with a big smile. And there the dream ended. I woke up bursting for a pee. On returning to bed and the land of Nod, I dreamed I was in a house with a business client, one of my best and longest known clients on the physical side, and he asked me to help him carry an armchair upstairs. As we both took hold of it and lifted it, it almost seemed to come alive and more or less propelled itself forward and towards the stairs. I seem to have had numerous small and difficult to describe dreams that night, most of which I quickly forgot on awakening. The only one I really could remember of any significance was set in the back garden of the house I lived in for the first 17 years of my life in Luton, at that time a very industrial town, famous for its comma trucks and Vauxhall cars amongst other things. My old dad was pointing to the back tyres of my first car, an old Morris Minor 1000, or Moggy, as they are still affectionately known. This would have been physically impossible on the physical plane, as there was only a narrow walkway from the front to the back garden. And anyway, I didn't learn to drive until I was 20, much less had the car then. I couldn't hear what my dad was saying, but needless to say, I had a good look at the back tyres on my present car before setting off for work that day. I think it likely that the Kay Burley figure was in fact a real guide. I have a certain grudging respect for the woman. I know she's one of the script-reading so-called journalists who dare not tell the truth for fear of losing her job, but she has surprised me on occasions by her cut-and-thrust tactics with our pathetic politicians, particularly lately over the COVID scam. It's 1984, she almost yelled at one such, on learning of a latest raft of intrusive rules. It's East and West Germany at another, regarding the ludicrous idea that the police had got to check everybody crossing the Severn Bridge to Wales to ensure they weren't from Liverpool, with at the time tougher rules. All this, coupled with the fact I find her a very attractive woman, probably made the guides come up with someone they knew would command my attention. The coats and other clothing suggest to me past lives, particularly as we were slowly going past them without even really looking at them. The descent to the lower realms and thereby meeting a clearly dark forces emissary speaks for itself. I think this was showing me I still have tap lines to sever, otherwise I'm not going to get past the creation levels, despite my desperate wish, indeed intent, to fight my way through to the real universes. But all is not lost, and I can reverse it and leave creation behind, hence the ascent back up the stairs, a fact repeated by the armchair sequence.
No, that was good. And so you weren't in the store to pick out a new wardrobe, huh? So it was more just kind of breezing through it and going down, yes, the steps and having to use the restroom. Well, it's an analogy in the real side many times to where you're marking your spot, you know, kind of like what dogs do. They mark their spot. And so you had an interruption there, and all of a sudden, you know, I would say it's kind of a warning that, you know, pay attention to, you know, what is most important to you or whatever. So again, focus on the is. And yeah, you don't want to be going back down there because there's going to be influences there. So turn right around and go right back up. Anybody can do it. Everybody makes the choice, but they don't always see it. So